Well, part two was a little bit more emotional. She said this in the past, actually. She didn't want us to die.
She said that to me the other day.
Yeah.
She's been talking about it with her friends at school. She mentioned a couple of names of children that she's talked to about this subject. So, you were saying?
Well, she said she didn't want us to die because she'll be all alone and she'll have to do everything herself. I said, don't worry, I'll always love you. And she said, where will you go? I said, I don't know, R1, I haven't really thought about it. And I said, I thought about it for a second. I said, oh, maybe I can live in R1 world, because she's quite imaginative and we invented a sort of term for her imagination, R1 world. And she has lots of world, like mashed potato world and R2 world, and there's a world apparently for everyone in the world. Anyway, so
I think she's onto something there, myself.
Yeah, she's quite clever. Anyway, I said, well, maybe I'll live in R1 world, and she seemed to like that idea.
Yeah.
And she said, well, I can find you an empty house. And she said, don't forget to bring all your stuff. And I was like, well, it doesn't matter. If I forget some stuff, I can always buy it from the shop. So that seemed to, I think that was a good thing to say at that particular point.
Yeah.
Me. I think I do well high-five myself there.
Yeah.
Because I think it certainly helped me with my dad and grandparents all having died, to sort of think of them as being somewhere in a kind of imaginary place.
I think we should talk a bit about, what our beliefs actually are as far as that is concerned, maybe, or is that too heavy?
Well, yeah, I'll say briefly, I don't believe in my consciousness continuing after my physical death. So that means, from my perspective, I'll be gone. But from other people's perspective...
Like mine?
Yeah, then...
Can I say?
Yeah, but I haven't quite finished. From other people's perspective, they'll still have to deal with the fact that I'm not actually physically there anymore. And what I found in my personal life is that there's a nice way of dealing with it is to actually utilise your imagination and give that person a place within it. And that's helped me in the past. And so therefore, I've sort of I've passed on that wisdom, actually, I would say, that I had to sort of work for years at before I even got anywhere near to it. But she's much more advanced in the kind of an imagination sphere than I am. And hopefully, that will help her in future to deal with anything like this. But V is going to say something now.
So I also don't believe that I, myself, as my own being, is going to carry forward. But I am of the mindset that we're all part of the same consciousness. So something of your life experience and your being, in a way, carries forward. I always have sort of lent towards kind of nature-based systems when it comes to spirituality, and I see the whole thing as a cycle, much like a flower coming up out of the ground, and that flower has its life cycle and it goes away into the ground again, and then another flower of the same breed comes up again. For all intents and purposes, it is a different flower, but it's also the same. And that is how I see it. It's a cycle. It's a cyclic process, much like everything in nature. Everything else in nature, should I say. So it's not that I think we individually go over to an afterlife of any sort. It's that I think the consciousness is cyclic. It keeps going. So in that respect, it's kind of like a reincarnation kind of idea, but not directly. I, myself, will come back again.
As one thing.
Yeah, that's not quite it. I just think that it's a consciousness thing. And it's like that on the physical plane as well, things come and they go, but the stuff that creates them is always there. It's like an underlying thing that's always there. And to me, that's what, for want of a better word, God is. It's that underlying, all that is.
I want a better word.
Yeah, I do too, but it's the only one that,
Too much baggage.
is most well known. It does have a lot of baggage for such a small word, yes. But obviously it's the most well known way of saying it. So there you go, that's how I see it anyway. I hope I explained that in not a too bad way.
I think the important question for me is whether I will experience dying and I will experience, being dead physically, and I will experience no longer being alive physically, and I will experience maybe coming back, maybe not, whatever. The point is, will I experience it? And I don't believe I will experience it. I believe I won't experience it. Obviously, we're on a similar page in the sense that, as I was saying, my persona continues as fragments of memories inside other people's personas. And so, in fact, in quite a real sense, I will go to live in R1 world. And so that's how I see it, as consciousness anyway. But, I don't think there's too much difference in our sort of ways of looking at it when you say that. But I think the main difference is what you expect to experience. I think that's the main difference.
I expect to fully experience the process of death, yes.
But do you expect to experience something after you're physically dead, properly physically dead, like ashes?
Who knows, really? Who can answer that question? I would like to think that that's true, yeah.
No, it's about what you expect. I'm asking about what you expect.
I don't know what I'd expect, really.
Because
I hope.
Yeah.
I hope that I do. I hope I get the opportunity to have a kind of momentary, okay, I've switched over now to something else, whatever that might be. I don't think that that's a sort of, infinite thing. I think that death does occur in all dimension of you, but then something else, but then you become something else. So I think I wouldn't go as far as saying it's a belief because I don't know. And, to say this is what I believe, it's not really. I'm quite happy in the knowledge that I don't know anything. But I'd like to think that, yes, I could experience the whole process of death, and there might be some part after that I also get to see somehow. Yeah. It's a comfort thing.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, it's a comfort thing with all this, I think.